Hey everybody, welcome back. This is going to be a preview video on Hall of Fame Michelle McCool. And I'm going to apologize in advance because this is going to be a hot mess of a video. And it's a hot mess of a video because Michelle McCool is kind of a hot mess. That's not to say that she's bad, and that's not to say that she's good. She's just kind of a hot mess. So previously, what I have done in my preview videos is I've gone through the rarity levels, and as you go through a new rarity, if it opens up a new move set, that's what I talked about. With Michelle McCool, here's her 6-star, 5-star, 4-star, 3, and then 2, which is where everybody recruits her initially. There's really only about 2 move sets that makes any sense. There's a whole lot of variables, and I figured that we will tackle it in a different way. Instead of going through the rarities and the move sets that it unlocks, I'm actually going to talk about what I look at when I'm trying to come up with a move set for a new character that I don't know anything about. So this is going to be more of a video on how I look at cards instead of going through each individual move set. There will be moves that we will not use during this video, most likely, and that's okay. I'm sure somebody else out there will have a video that showcases all of the moves that I don't. I just kind of want to talk about how I put a card together for the first time. So that's what we're going to do. So Michelle McCool is a technician. She's the second Technician Hall of Fame that we've gotten. She's the third free-to-play Hall of Fame card that we've gotten. And if you, along with Lex Luger and Molly Holly, this is a PSA. If you don't have Molly Holly, Lex Luger, and now Michelle McCool, if you don't have plans to take them 6-star gold, make those plans. Michelle is the final in the cycle of trainers. I know this is going to be really hard to read, but blue moves start with 2 more move points, increase kick-out damage done by gems by 75%. That's a huge, huge buff for kick-outs. 30% more health is a pretty big buff and is especially useful in Titan mode. And any color gems do 40% more damage. So the rainbow, she's a rainbow gem damage coach. That's percentage based. Just like all of the other 2025 Hall of Fames, they all do the same thing except the +2 MP is a different color for all of them. They are worth their weight in gold. In my opinion, the trainer kind of tier list goes double 4 MP trainers. So Braun, Mello, Roxy. Then it goes to your +4 MP trainers. Then it goes to your +2 multiply MP trainers. And that's like Powerhouse Braun and Nation of Domination Rock, Striker Liv, all of that series of trainers. They are like on the, they're the 3rd ranked trainers, and I would put these Hall of Fame trainers in that same 3rd rank, +2 MP, +40% rainbow, +75% kick-out gem damage buff, +30% more health. They're that important in my opinion, and I use them all of the time. I think they're fantastic trainers. And my Michelle McCool will be going 6-star gold just as soon as I can. All right, and I recommend all of you guys do the same thing. She is chaotic. So the boss breakers are It's Time, Healer Steal, and Neutralize. When boss battle was first around, chaotic was probably the most important boss breakers to work on. Now it's kind of meh. Neutralize still has limited uses. Healer Steal has very limited uses. And It's Time also has pretty limited uses. So this is what you'll have access to. I'm not sure if any of them are going to be very useful. She has gears. And if it goes like Lex Luger did, hopefully those gears will be obtainable throughout the month. They are silver and gold gears, just like all other Hall of Fames. Silver gear, all color moves start with 2 more move points. And then gold is multiplied gems generated from moves will increase their strength by 2. I have access to these gears. We will be using them. I will click them and obtain them later. I want to start off with a relatively fresh palette. So let's look at the moves. And the first move I want to go over, I want to do this before I get into what I look for in a card, is she has a sub, and it's okay. For the plus 99 and everybody who has her currently anywhere between 2-star bronze and 5-star bronze, you know you don't have to level her up too awful much to be able to work through tours. And for most of us, the easiest way to do that is just going to be to focus on submission, take advantage of the plus 99, try to crank the blue submission damage up as much as possible, and then crank the number of turns up as much as possible. And this should get you through at least the first half of the month with a 1-click win for most tours. It's not going to hold up for anything else. And in fact, the move is not great. Here is a entourage that is based around move damage, submission damage. So blue submission moves do 100% more damage per turn. Blue subs do 50% more damage per turn and last 1 more turn. And then Logan Paul here, any color submission moves do 50% more damage, and any color subs last 1 more turn. That gets us to 600k damage for 4 turns. That's 2.4 million damage per sub. You could alter it around, I'm sure. You could lose the 100% damage and add turns or whatever. I mean, this is max 6-star gold. Level 390 6-star gold, you're doing 2.4 million out of the sub. Maybe I'm a little spoiled because in recent, I have Zombie Sheamus's sub in my head because it's the most recent sub that I remember looking at, which will do into the 60 to 70 million damage at 6-star gold maxed out, where this one does 2.4. It'll get you through the early part of this MLC. You will probably never use it again. There is some stuff here. Remaining submission gems turn into 2-turn countdown gems that will deal 200k damage when they pop, which isn't a lot, and then swap a 7x7 random area into blue gems at the end of the countdown. So it paints the board blue after a sub, and then you wait 2 more turns. This sub doesn't trigger any countdown plates. It does trigger sub plates, obviously. So you could sub and then next turn swipe or do a move and the next, this is not a good sub, in my opinion. Like I said, it'll be useful for the first half of the MLC for most of us. And it's what I'm going to use for the first half of the MLC personally, until mine gets, my Michelle McCool gets leveled up appropriately. But it is nothing to write home about, guys. So for all you submission move aficionados out there, this one ain't it. So let's go look at the moves, and I'll kind of go through my thought process. So the first thing that I look for is moves that, where's my damage coming from? Okay. Is it move damage? Is it countdown gem damage? Is it just regular gem damage? Is it a form of unblockable damage? Is it multiplied gems? Is it an activated move buff, gem buff damage? Where is the damage coming from? So we'll look over here. The ankle lock we've already talked about is not a source of damage. And it's not a source of anything that will create damage. So, Wings of Love, 2 million is a finisher, deal 2 million damage and a reversal, decrease the countdown gem timer. So this is the catalyst for various countdown gems in the game, or with Michelle McCool. This is also where the reversal lies on a green finisher. I'm not even sure how I feel about finishers on reversals, or reversals on finishers. But if the opponent's move changes either superstar's gem damage, then deal 15 million damage and steal the opponent's turn. This is typical with the 2025 Hall of Fames. Same reversal. 15 million damage is nice, but 2 million is not. Generally, when it comes to move damage builds, I want to see something that starts at around 5 million and goes up from there. This is decent, not great. Countdown gems are always a good idea when it comes to driving damage. Deal 550k damage, make 17 randos into 2-turn countdown gems that will deal 1.05 million damage and make 3 randos into blue gems at the end of the countdown. Okay, now we've got a damage dealer. All right, we've got 17 countdown gems at 1.05 million. So that'll turn into, just a touch under 18 million damage when those go off. That's not going to be the end-all be-all damage. 18 million is not going to one-shot anybody, but we're starting to get into territory of like, okay, this is going to do 18 million unblockable and paint the board blue. Keep this one in mind. So I know that the side belly-to-belly suplex is probably a move that I'm going to work on with a move set because this is a damage dealer. Down here, we got the Tilt-A-Whirl Backbreaker. Deal 444,000 damage. Choose a 4x4 area to make into multiply gems of strength 3. Okay, so we've got some multiply gems. This is a damage driver here as well. Then deal 444k damage and gain 10 green MP. All right, so not only is it a damage driver, but it is a recycle move as well. So in my head, I'm like, okay, Tilt-A-Whirl Backbreaker is a move that we're going to have to work with because it does multiple things. And it is a damage driver, meaning this is one of those moves we can funnel the move flow through in order to do some big damage. Roundhouse Kick is another move. Deal 520,000 damage. Choose a 3x3 area to make into X-Break gems. Hardcore. If opponent's class is Powerhouse, deal 520,000 damage and increase your green gem damage by 100% for 1 turn. Okay. So now we have a specialist situation that is a damage driver, 100% activated move buff against powerhouses. So something to keep in the back of the head, but it's not something that I'm going to use or think about to drive damage. However, we've got a 3x3 area to make into X breaks. So this is interesting. A 3x3 area into X breaks isn't really enough to break the whole board on its own. But it is enough to trigger a plate because you're dropping 9 X breaks, so you can drop all of the associated X break plates, including the Rainbow Break plate, which is a 500% buff to base gem damage. And it's also something that you can trigger one of the anniversary plates with. Whenever you do 8 or more of a specialty gem type, you get 8 multiply gems of strength 8. So, okay. Now we're getting somewhere else. Here's another damage driver, and it happens to be the same color as this damage driver. So, cool. Now we've got something. We just need to figure out a way to either load this, or if we're going to sacrifice our entourage and start with this loaded. We also need to figure out how to board wipe. Are we going to use the countdown gems, or are we going to have something else? But again, we have ideas of a plan right here. Then we come into the European Uppercut, deal 350,000 damage, and choose 10 gems to make into green gems. Now, whenever I see a choose gem move, my brain automatically thinks recycle, my brain thinks setup, and my brain thinks turn manipulation. So like 5 swipes, 3 matches, 5 matches, 3 swipes, stuff like that, just to get me into reloading MP territory or clicking over a turn, but still maintaining control of the move flow. So this is interesting. This would be useful in any blue or green setups I come across. Big Boot, 545,000 damage. Choose 9 gems to make into purple. Okay, now we have a purple reloader, recycler, catalyst, right, turn manipulator, but neither one of these moves do anything on their own. Choosing 10 gems to make it into green is not going to be enough damage to really do anything. And that's the same with the Big Boot here. The last move is the Faith Breaker. Finisher, deal 3 million damage and swap his 6x6 random area into green gems and pin the opponent. Well, okay. Now we have a definitive way of doing damage. This is a 6x6 random area into green, so we're going to paint the board green. So that's One way that we're going to generate damage is the Faith Breaker. The other way we can generate damage is the side belly to belly suplex. This one we need some way to figure out how to manipulate turns, or Wings of Love here does it for us. Decrease our countdown gem timers by 2. And these are 2-turn countdown gems, and these are 2-turn countdown gems. All right. What this doesn't do is it does not make these moves work with the countdown move, because the countdown gems are turn 2 in themselves. So you put them out, you make a 5 match, you get your extra turn. This ticks over once, but nothing happens. You need it to tick over twice. If these were 1-turn countdown gems, these moves become very useful because you can just make 5 matches and control the turn. Since it's 2 turns, you have to control 3 total turns. 1 turn to drop these, make a 5 match. 2nd turn, make another 5 match. 3rd turn, these will go off and all of the effects happen. So, and then the same thing happens with the sub, except this turns into a 4-turn because you can't control the turn on a sub. So it's sub, leaves countdowns, next turn, 5 match, get another turn. And then I guess if you had the ability, you could do a turn 3. I'm sorry. My fault. So it's either a 3 or a 4 turn, but you relinquish control of your turn to the opponent because of the submission deal. So the length of the countdown gems here really, really, really affects how useful the countdown gems really are. All right. Yeah, so what do we do, right? Well, these are high MP. Do you want to just 2-click this? Yes, we could, but what are we going to do here? We're going to do 18 million damage, and we're going to paint the board blue, and that's it. That's not enough. That's not enough damage. We need something to figure out how to drive us through. And this 10 MP as a finisher, in a feud build, you're going to sink 2 4 MP trainers and a Santa just to have this loaded turn 1. So this doesn't work as a 2-click because it doesn't do enough damage, and it just won't do enough damage. 2 million from the finisher. Let's call it 18 million from the countdown gems going off. That's 20 million plus painting the board into unmodified blue gems. We're talking what, maybe 25 million at most, especially when you look at her blue gems do 48,000 damage by themselves. Yeah, I mean, we don't even really have to think too hard about it. My calculator's in the wrong spot. Let's put that over here for now. You know, let's say 48,753 is our base gem damage. Let's multiply that by Let's multiply that by 1 for itself, plus let's put 100% gem damage strap on it. We'll put Fury 2s. That's your Fury metal, and then let's add 0.8 for Entourage, you know, whatever. That means each gem's doing 150,000 multiplied by 49, 7.3 million. Okay, so 27 million is what a 2-click setup would look like here without any plates or stuff like that. So that's not enough. So we got to figure out a way to load it. So we're looking through here, and then I've got a blue move that's only 7 MP. Like, okay, great. I could choose 10 gems to make into green. We could make this work pretty easily by doing something like this. So now we have 6 blue MP, 7 for yourself, so this starts loaded. This is a 10 MP finisher. You can choose 10, but that's very sketchy. Or you could do Hollywood Hogan. And then over here, you can do just a regular entourage. Okay. But if you notice, this is 40, this is 80%. This is set up the exact way that I just did the math on over here in the calculator. We know they're only doing about 7.3 million in gem damage, and you can't really increase that a significant way through plates over here. All right. So we'll put on the hard times because countdown gems increase your blue and yellow gem damage by 100% for 2 turns. We'll toss that on there. And then there's not really an appropriate ultimate plate. So let's be lazy and let's just throw a blue Royal Rumble on there. So at least we have a little bit of synergy with the hard times plate. Okay. Oops, pressed the wrong button. And then let's go into battle and see what it does. Taking its sweet time. So we're loaded here, but we only have 1 on each of these, and we know we need at least 9. With Hollywood Hogan, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 because of Hollywood Hogan's effect. So there we've got that. We lay out our countdown gems, which are going to do 18 million unblockable, and paint the board blue. And then we're going to use the finisher, 2 million damage, and then immediately pop all of our countdown gems, which will paint the board blue and then trigger the rumble. $41 million. Yikes. That's 41 million. Granted, the strap is 100%. You know, you can go up to 150. I'm using Fury 2 instead of Fury 3s. But I'm using 2 plates, including a rumble, to get to 42 million. That ain't enough. It's just not enough at all. So, what can we do now? With the idea of trying to increase damage, we've already identified the Tilt-A-Whirl Backbreaker as not only a recycler, but a damage driver. So let's put this in here, because not only we're going to be making multiplied gems of strength 3, we're also going to gain 10 green MP. So this solves our Hollywood Hogan problem. We no longer need Hollywood Hogan. But it doesn't solve our MP problem. 8 MP means we are going to need 3, either 2 plus 4 MPs here, or a plus 4 plus 2 plus Santa. So here's our setup here. Purple moves start with 4. Purple moves start with 2. Multiplied gems increase our strength by 2. That puts us up to 5. We've got to have Santa on here for 6. Or sorry, for our 7th MP. And ourselves now are 8 MP. And then we've just got Zombie Gunther. You could use Leo here and get a little bit more damage, of course. But that's not really what I want to talk about. And let's check and see how much more damage we get out of this method. We know multiplied gems are part of the meta right now. So we know that this is getting a little bit closer to a usable move set. But is it going to be enough? And then we hit the finisher. Paint the board, we're only blowing up 16 multiplied gems of strength 5, which isn't a huge amount of damage. So now we're up to 57 million from 41. 57 million, I don't think is enough damage. All right. So now we're in a situation with everything that we have. How do we make this better? Or the question is, can you make it better? And can you make it better without being completely out of left field, having to do some wacky setups? So we go back through our move sets. You know, like I said, we could add Leo. Instead of 16 multiplied gems of strength 5, we have 16 multiplied gems of strength 8. That puts us comfortably into 60 million range. But again, I'm not even sure if 60 million is quite enough. You could add an entourage that gives you more countdown gems, but that only adds 3 more. If you use like Shoba solo, you're only adding 3 more million damage there. So instead of 18 million damage, now you're doing 21. It's not enough of an increase. Is there anything down here that we can find that helps us drive even more damage? And the answer is not with this move set. We know that neither one of these two moves does anything. If we add this move, we got to take something out. And this is a combination. With this being a 2-turn countdown, you have to have something to trigger it, or you have to concede your turn, or you have to get really lucky with 5 matches, right? And 5 matches means you need something to control it, which is one of these 2 moves, and then you can't use this move anyway. So, like, you see what I'm saying? So there's nothing to do. You're kind of stuck. This is about as good as this moveset is going to get without, you know, kind of messing with this type of stuff. So instead of the Royal Rumble, we could put on, for instance, a Gender Plate. Gender Plate, whenever you activate a purple move, increase your blue gem damage by 250% for 1 turn. So let's toss that on there. Let's not toss that on there. Hang tight. Oh my goodness, just let me do stuff. All right, thank you. Okay, please hold. So what were we doing? We were adding the Gender Plate here. Whenever you activate a blue move, increase your blue gem damage by 250%. Okay. I don't think that's enough because we're only using 1 purple move, but we can take a look at it real fast. And we're removing the Rumble Plate, which was a large damage driver for us. Yeah, so let's see what our results are. Somehow, my McCool has double HP. I wonder why that is. $63 million. All right. So we're kind of inching our way up there, but I'm not sure if that's really the answer. So let's do one last check, and let's check with Leo. And run one more time. Now we should be in the 70 million range, and that feels a little bit more comfortable. A little bit. The plus side of this moveset is you barely have to interact with the gym board. You don't have to worry about cascades, but you have to worry about multiply gym reversals, MP up reversals. I don't think there's any countdown gym reversals in the game that I can think of. I could be wrong though. So this is with Leo, a gender plate, Fury 2s, Hard Times plate, and we got to 77 million. So now we're starting to get into one-shot KO range, but you need a lot of stuff to get there without the gear. Okay, cool. So what else can we do? What are the other damage drivers that this card has? So let's take a look at those. And the only other damage dealer that I identified was the Faithbreaker. Deal 3 million damage, swap a 6x6 rando area into green gems, and pin the opponent. And what does that match with? Not much, except for triple purple. So we can go Tilt-A-Whirl Backbreaker, which is our multi-gems, our Roundhouse Kick, which will make 9 X breaks, and then the Faithbreaker basically paint the board green. Well, okay, cool. What can we use there? And one of the problems that we're going to have here is the same problem that we had with the last move set, and that is we need 3 MP coaches or trainers. No, wrong one. I need Santa. Where's Santa? Santa, I need you. There he is. All right. For the purposes of the video, just so I don't have to go searching, pretend this is woods. So we've got 8 purple MP here, 9 purple MP here. Why do we need that? Because this is a 10 MP finisher. So all of our damage that we can add from the entourage is instead gone to this finisher to make sure it can go off turn 1. And then we've got Chelsea, green gems do 40% more damage, and multiplied gems do 60% more damage. Now we know that with something like this, we can actually change this around. And I'm going to skip a little bit of the progression here and go directly to the Rainbow Cross Break. X-Break, sorry, Rainbow X-Break. And then we're going to use the Chemical X plate. The Chemical X being the anniversary plate that throws out multi-gems. Where is it? There. So let's see how much damage we can get this way. Now, we've got a couple of pretty premium plates. We're going to get 500 bonus gem damage from base on everything, which is super nice. Where you're going to have at least 24 multiplied gems out there, which is nice. And then the X breaks will allow us to essentially break the board. So first we put down the multis, and I like putting it in this corner here, because if you put the X breaks here, you should be able to get all of the multiplied gems. So if you take this diagonal, you'll look and you'll see you're going to miss one right there. This diagonal is going to take care of these guys. This diagonal will take care of itself. Take care of these guys. Take care of these guys. You're going to miss this one and this one. Go ahead and hit the finisher, paint the board green, and see how much damage we do. Now we're into decent territory. That was 73 million at the very least. Okay, now we're on to something. So now I know that triple purple is probably going to be the best way of running this, but we have two problems. One, our multi-gems are very weak, and two, our MP charges are very high. This is where the gear comes in, and how why you should probably chase the gear this month if you have the ability to. We'll go to here, grab the silver gear. Go here, grab the gold gear. So now we automatically start with 3 MP, meaning that all of our 10 MP moves, we actually only need 7. And that's going to provide us a lot of flexibility with our entourage, and we can start really kind of ramping up what we can do. So let's go back to this one real quick. Wings of Love, Countdown Gem Timer, and then the Tilt-A-Whirl Backbreaker. And let's go back to this loadout here. We're solid here, except we got 3. We need 5 MP. There's 6. He can go away. No more Santa. And then we can just add a zombie. Obviously, we know Leo's going to give us more damage, but this is a relatively obtainable entourage, except for Nodrock. And I understand that. You can swap that out for anybody. Put another Hall of Famer in here. As long as you are generating purple. So Hall of Fame Goldberg will be just fine. Going to go back, put the gender plate on. And then we'll go back and put the hard times plate on. Now let's see how much damage we're talking about. And this should be a significantly better hit just by adding the 1 zombie and getting rid of Santa. Even though I've got one of the beefy, one of the maxed out Santa Hogans. The other thing is with the gold gear, my multiplied gems will be of strength 7. There we go. Now we're starting to talk about some pretty decent damage. $76 million. Not bad. 76 million will play. $76 million will play. Is it the best in the world? No. But it's not the worst. Now let's go check triple purple. Maybe. Maybe we'll check triple purple. Or maybe we'll just sit here. We can just sit here too. There we go. Come on. Okay. This is, I can't stop. I can't stop. I'm already 40 minutes into this. I cannot stop. There we go. So here, we got an extra 2, and then 1 for our being ourselves. We got to come up with 7 MP. That means this loadout going back here works. And it works just fine. Because we have 8 plus 2 from our gear plus 1 for being ourselves. That's 11. So now we're loaded and we're able to throw in more damage on the coach side of things. We go back to adjusting the plates, go back to the Chemical X. And we go back to the gender plate. Not the gender plate, sorry, the rainbow explosion. Which is right there. Now let's see what we can get up to. And we use the same move flow. We're going to throw down the multis first. The reason we're throwing down the multis first is because if we put down the X brakes first, there's a chance that the little space that we have carved out for our multis would get overwritten by the 4x4 area. This way, the Chemical X plate has to work around all of the stuff that's already there. Blow up the board, break all the multis, get a pretty decent cascade. 115 million. That's not bad. 115 million to work. Let's see one more. Let's add Leo on instead of Gunther. And see what we can get up to. So this is, hopefully I've been able to show kind of the problem I had with this card. Nothing really works without the gears. The gears allows you to run something a little bit more conventional, but you need a lot of stuff to make Michelle McCool work. Hall of Fame McCool. Right. We've been consistently talking about Leo. You got to have Mellow. All of the plates that I've used have not been the most common plates in the world. And I recognize that. You know, some of this stuff here is not for an early game player. Some of it is mid game to late game type stuff. Unfortunately, I just could not think of anything to do here because it's just not a very well, it's built around the gears. That's my personal opinion. This entire card is built around having the gears, and if the gears were actually baked into the card itself, it wouldn't be as frustrating of an experience. 126 million. Is there stuff that we could do to crank up the damage a little bit further? I'm sure. You could probably, I don't know, swap out Mellow for Nod Rock and still have Leo and then throw Santa back in there. Well, let's see. Shoot, we're already 45 minutes into it. Let's keep going. Could there be stuff where you figure out how to start with green loaded and purple loaded at the same time? Maybe. Although without having it in front of me. There we go. Strength by 2 here, just so that we can get everything very clear. Yeah, swap here with Santa. All right, now we're making multiplied gems of strength 10, and we're making 16 of those. So this should be about the best hit that I've had all day. All right, so 24 multiplied gems will be on the board. We have the 500% base gem damage buff. The multiplies are pretty big, and I'm going to be painting essentially the entire board in green. $143 million. So she can get up there in damage. She has one move set to do it that I found. Now, I recognize the fact that being a card mechanic is not exactly one of my strong suits. Very rarely will you see a homegrown stand on your head, super complicated build for me. It'll happen from time to time. But that's about all they give you to work with here. You know, of all of the moves that she has, you have the purples, you've got the countdown, and the finish. There are 3 full moves here that just don't do anything. Right? How is this useful? Big boot. Choose 9 gems to make it a purple, and it's green. Are you going to manually trigger the X breaks? Maybe that's exactly what you do. I don't know. This just seems better. Anyway, I've been rambling for a while now. That's Michelle McCool. She's high. She's certainly a free-to-play card. That's for sure. She is free to play. With enough stuff on her, you can get her to hit, and you can get her to hit without interacting with the board. There is some reversal worries, but nothing too major. With triple purple, you just have to worry about X break reversals, which again, I'm not sure exists, or if they do exist, they're very limited, or multiply gem reversals. So, you know, this isn't an indie, you're not going to be defeating hordes of indie Hartwells with Hall of Fame Michelle McCool, but there you go. Yeah, if you've learned anything today, if you've been entertained by anything today, or if you just happen to like the sound of my voice, do me a favor, click like, click subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time. Later.